So I looked at the recruiting rankings earlier, and 31st was the number that I saw. And then later in the day, within a few hours, I see number 19, number 20 in that range. A lot of good things happened. There was was it Kayin Lee, a flip Kayin Lee from Ohio State to Auburn. Just a lot of good things. I caught the Hugh Freeze interview on the SEC network. So, wow, like you say, good day for Auburn football.
It really is. And, right now the focus is mainly upon laying a new foundation. And that's kind of overstated sometimes. Obviously, we're going through a coaching change, all those sorts of things. But really, this is a true foundation laying because of what was needed to be addressed on the recruiting front this year. Not just offensive line wise, because we've discussed ad nauseum how bad the offensive line play has been over the last few years, but because we were losing an entire slew of talent across the defensive front. So literally laying the foundation for a football team across the line on both sides is what happened. I mean, I was on a live stream earlier for myself on my channel, and I just read the list off, not even the names, just the positions, and every other one was offensive line, defensive line, offensive line, defensive line. To me, that's the big story today, is the needs that we've all seen on the offensive line and the needs that we knew were coming on the defensive line have already been addressed in the early signing period. And it's quite a relief for me, but for a lot of Auburn fans.
So Kyle, how do you really review and answer just the success? Because it's always difficult for a coach to come into a new program, even though Hugh Freeze is, I'm sure, familiar with the talent in that conference, and of course the candidates and the prospects in that conference from his days at Ole Miss. But being able to wrap up a recruiting class, just kind of hit the ground running and being able to make great strides. So it's a great testament to Hugh Freeze, but it's also a great one to Cadillac Williams and what was already established and what they were working on before he got there.
Yeah, it really is. And you saw Coach Freeze talk about this in his press conference, if you watched that today, how much we had to thank for Cadillac, for Zach Etheridge, the cornerbacks, safeties coach, I guess is what he'll be now on this new staff, being able to hold this group together. Because there's a lot of names that I think a lot of people are going to just wash over if you're a general college football fan. If you're not an Auburn guy, I've been focusing on this group. A lot of these local kids, J.C. Hart, you got Brenton Williams, you've got just a slew of other names, Braden Joyner, that local guys that chose to stick it out with Auburn and hold it together. And it is because of the guys like a Cadillac Williams. And so when you really try to assess the success of this recruiting class, as you addressed, we won't know that for further down the line. But for me, the really big thing was assessing the needs that were obviously present, as we just previously talked about. And the fact that we were able to do what we were able to do in a matter of weeks. I mean, this coaching staff as a whole, and it's still not whole yet completely. We're still waiting for a wide receiver coach to be hired. What they were able to accomplish is already a success. You said, I think it was ranked 31st or something at the beginning of the day. When he got here, I think it was as low as almost into the 50s or the 60s, when he took over. The fact that we even touched the teens, to me, the success has already been had. That puts Auburn's name back into the minds of recruits for the next cycle as well, and says, okay, well, people are giving them a look again. Why is that? Get them. We always talk about how Auburn sells Auburn. You get them here, and something just gets infected in them. Maybe we're some disease you can't get rid of, but somehow, some way, Auburn has proven time and time again, no matter who the coach is, no matter who the transition staff is, no matter who, is having success there or not, Auburn can bring in some pretty surprising things on National Signing Days.